Here's take two, because I was getting off track. Take one. This has become a very interesting topic. And I honestly had no clue. I had no clue, and I don't know if sinistermoon did either, that the topic of MAME emulation was going to strike a nerve with people. Okay? He's stating that people can go on websites and download programs or go on websites and play MAME games. In other words, MAME meaning the arcade. It stands for like multiple arcade machine emulation. I believe that's the proper term for it. And instead of, playing like one game, you could play like thousands of them. Now, there's a drawback to this, and he does mention the sites supercade.net, and there was another one he mentioned, but I can't remember it offhand. The one does let you play games against other people over the net for free. The catch is you need a certain adapters, whatever, put onto your internet browser, and your browser has to be up to a certain version. And in the other case, you have to download like every friggin' ROM that's on the list, or else you really can't play it, which really sucks. Trust me, especially when you're trying to play a game like Magician Lord. So those are the kind of drawbacks to that idea. Now then, yeah, he kind of leaves those parts out when he mentions it, but when he mentions Supercade. Now then, MAME emulation. I got news for you. I know a person who was fixing my computer, and we were talking about emulation. We actually had this discussion, and he told me that they actually had, where he worked for the Geek Squad, a computer that had a whole bunch of MAME programs on it. So don't think he doesn't, I mean, I don't know how he really feels about emulation in general, but here's my thing. A game like this will run you, I don't know how much it'll run your box, but this one ran me $6. Okay? This game was actually a present, but it will run you about $60, even though it's a Game of the Year edition. Now, some people, if they want to play an old game like Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, or one of the old Maddens, I'm talking like before it really blew up and became something astronomical, they might not be able to find the cartridge because a lot of stores, here's a newsflash, people, don't sell them. And fuck eBay, because they do not support money orders anymore. So you generally have to go to a website like, well, it used to be called Chase Chuckwagon, but now it's called GameGabble.com, and even then, some idiots still believe that people only use money orders. That's a whole other story, but it kind of ties in with this. Now, is anybody going to sit here and expect you to buy an arcade machine? No. At the same time, should people be expected to go hunt down a game, either a game's arcade cabinet or the actual cartridge, considering the fact that some games don't have an actual cartridge. They were never ported to a home console. Okay? And I'm not 8. And I'm disqualifying Xbox Live or PSN. Because what I'm referring to specifically is having the physical cartridge in your hand. So, if you want to play a game like the Simpsons arcade game or the X-Men arcade game, generally speaking, you're going to need a MAME emulator in order to play it. Why? Because I don't think anybody... Here, hold on. I'm going to show you my room real quick. See how small this thing is? Okay? I couldn't fit an arcade machine in this room for the life of me. Even if I wanted to, I'd have to literally knock out this wall, okay, and take away half the drive, and take away basically a driveway to even start to build a game room like someone like Luke Morse. Okay, that's just how it is here. So the way I see it is, emulation can be a good thing. And by the way, for anybody wondering, the Happy Console Gamer endorses emulation. So if you're going to look for him to fall back on, sorry. Him and Robman, if you were in his chat, he will tell you outright that he endorses it because there are games that are about 20 years old and most people might not have the cartridge and don't have the means to find it. So in that case, he and Robman said, go out and emulate it, basically. Now, if you can find a cartridge to a game, great. More power to you. If you have the means to import a game that may not come out here, again, more power to you. Okay? I do own domestic copies of games, and I also own Japanese copies of games, but I don't own one. I don't own both. I'm not that rich. God damn, I wish I was. My whole thing about emulation is this, especially MAME. If the game didn't have a home port, and even if it did, in some cases you might not have the cartridge anymore, so by all means, knock yourself out and download it. If the game didn't have a home port and it's only on MAME, and that's your only means of playing, I say go for it. Because it's to the point now where the older games get, either most companies aren't around anymore so they don't give a damn, or the game's just so old I don't think the company's going to give a shit, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's like, if game companies were really giving a shit about, games being leaked, like honestly, they would be pulling anybody doing gameplay footage. And I know you're going to say it's a different thing, fine. But let's look at reality. Please. Emulation can be a good thing. If it's like not what all your hard drive is. Now most of my hard drive is music, and I'm not going to sit here and personally I think $99 for MP or $99, 99 cents for an MP3 sometimes. And actually I think it's $1.06 now. It's like ridiculous. Ugh. Or maybe it was lower, I don't know. Anywho, I'm sorry guys, that's my stance on emulation. You all have a good night, and please leave a response. Thank you.